welcome to the third episode of Ladies in Their 80s Talking Football. This is Troy Lewis, and I'm here with my mama and my Aunt Grace. My mom's got the Philadelphia Eagles across the chest there, and my Aunt Grace is in the numbered jersey. So this is the first time they are separated. They're usually together. Sometimes my mom needs a little space, or maybe sometimes my Aunt Grace needs a little space from my mom. So anyway, welcome Mama, welcome Aunt Grace. So for those who tune in, you all know that we were in a survivor pool. Aunt Grace got knocked out last week with the Philadelphia Eagles. That was why she had a Sixers jersey on, because she kind of turned her back on the Eagles for a second, but she's come back to the fold. And Mama and I, we had Tampa Bay this weekend. And Mama, how did that go?
It didn't.
No, it didn't.
We're now knocked out. We're right along with sister and the others.
Yeah. Yeah. So the survivor pool that we started in had about 800 or so people, closer to 900 people, and now it's down to about 71 based on all of the upsets.
71.
Yeah, I think it's about 71. I could be wrong, but I know it's below 100.
Wow.
Yeah, but anyway, these things happen. That's why it's called a suicide/survivor pool. And as my Aunt Grace has the sunniest disposition of anyone that I know. And when Mama and I got knocked out yesterday, the first thing that Aunt Grace said was, in a text message was, well, it just gives us more time to prepare for next year. So that's why I call my Aunt Grace, I often call her Sunshine Sister. She's always looking at the bright side of things. So God bless her for that.
I try.
So, last week we were talking about betting against Carolina, and we made fun of Andy Dalton and how that might turn out. So Aunt Grace, I'm going to let you go first. What did you think of Andy Dalton and how he did this weekend? Because Aunt Grace, if I remember you correctly, you called him Grandpa.
Yeah, well, see, I can, what do I want to say? I'm in the same boat. I'm grandma, so, but I didn't count him out, he had time just to, while he was home or wherever, just to sit back and, what do I want to say? Just study, And so what he maybe would have, or would do differently if he ever got the chance to get back on the field. And he put it into action yesterday.
Yes, he did. I think it's, time away from something always gives you perspective. And he certainly made the most out of stepping away from the game.
Right.
I heard a stat on the radio that he had not played since week 3 of last year.
Really?
Yeah. And this weekend, he became the first quarterback this current season, to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game.
Oh, my goodness. And I think that's marvelous for a 36-year-old.
Oh, and Mama, I didn't even know his age.
And me either. I'm the reader. Yes. Yes. And the retainer.
The reader, maybe we should start calling her R&R, the reader and the retainer. All right. So yeah, and something else that I heard this morning while getting ready for work was that the Carolina Panthers, it was the first time in 21 games that they scored on their opening drive.
Oh my goodness.
So almost a year and a half, it's the first time they've scored on their opening drive. So it's not as though the team changed any. They just changed one player.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I hope Bryce, uh, I'm drawing a blank on the quarterback's name. Bryce Young.
Young,
Yes, thank you, Mama.
you're welcome. I told you I read.
This is not scripted. I was drawing a blank on the #1 overall pick from last year, and Mama knew his last name right away.
Yes.
Yeah, so Mama, you are amazing at 80 something years old.
82, I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of it.
Okay, good for you. Mama's 82 and there's no shame in her game. And her son, here's something that she is kind of vain about. The year I turned 60, she said to me, I don't like you telling people that you're 60. I want you to tell people that you're 50 because I don't like people to know that I have a son and they're 60.
She was just joking.
I don't remember that. I think
Yeah,
you're
of course
making
you
it
do.
up.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, move along.
We're moving along. So did you hear about, I'm looking at the score right now. Buffalo's up 13-3, and I got a little bit of money on FanDuel tonight on Buffalo to just win. That's all I care about. And he's throwing, that should have been pass interference, but they didn't call it. Did y'all hear anything about the coach in Detroit and how he's going to have to move out of his home because random fans are showing up or sending hate mail or sometimes very emails or letters to his home where they're proud of the team, but people have been showing up in disguise, dressed up as cable guys or plumbers, and so yeah, they're having to move out of their home because too many people in Detroit know their address. How crazy is that?
Really?
Yeah,
I have to check that out.
Yeah. That I didn't read that. Okay.
Yeah. It's a sad, sad state of affairs.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So you hadn't heard about that. So I'm going to look ahead to next week.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
There is something that I want to share with everyone.
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of people may be aware of this, but I like human interest stories.
Mhm.
And in my reading, I saw where Jalen Hurts, my favorite quarterback right now,
Mhm.
he donated $200,000 to 7 schools in Philadelphia to put in air conditioning because the students were suffering from the heat, and it was installed over the summer. So now at least one that they featured has air conditioning, and they're delighted to go to school.
Well, that's a beautiful thing, and Mama and I both know. Well, Mama and I both are very happy when we find that there are people out there who, based on their livelihood and how they've been blessed, that they're able to give it back.
That's right. It's good to bless others. That way you keep getting blessings yourself.
Amen to that. I will not argue with you on that one.
I agree.
Okay.
Because I'm seeing it with myself right now.
Okay. And Aunt Grace and Mama, they both know how much I love them and how much I love our family. And I do everything I can to be kind to everyone in our family.
Yes, you do, Troy.
And both of them set the example for me, and I appreciate that. So that's what life is all about. Go ahead, Mama. It's about helping others.
Oh, you can tell I have something else to say.
Mama, I kind of know you.
Can we touch a little bit on Kyler Murray?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
You remember I mentioned it last week in our rebuttal after we got off the air about his performance in the Cardinal Rams game. He broke records and his jersey was retired in
Yes.
football.
Yeah.
My wonder is how come we haven't heard much on the football channels about this remarkable feat that he did. The last time it happened was, I think, I might be wrong, in 1974. Am I right?
You are right. I looked it up as well. Mama, what are you doing?
Getting her notes.
Yeah, it dropped.
Mama, that's a very good question. I don't know why more wasn't made of it.
Yeah, nothing was made of it. I'd like to challenge them on that.
So, Mama, I think you have the stats in front of you. So tell our listeners and our
No, I don't have the stats in front of me. No. All I know is that his jersey was retired. The jersey that he wore for that game in the football that was used is put into the Hall of Fame.
I'm trying to look it up real quick, Mama, because, I never know what you and Aunt Grace might come up with, because y'all kind of scare me with your knowledge. Jersey retired Hall of Fame. So while I'm looking that up, Aunt Grace, it looks like you have a jersey, an 11 numbered jersey for the Eagles, and I thought you had an AJ Brown jersey on, but that doesn't seem to be the case. What is it?
Well, my grandson gifted me with the jersey. It's a Tim Tebow jersey.
Okay.
And he told me.
I didn't even know Tebow was with the Eagles.
I know.
I had to look that up as we were coming on the air.
He's a very knowledgeable young man. And so I'm sporting Tim Tebow.
Okay, so I looked it up right before we came on. Tebow only played with the Eagles for 4 preseason games back in 2015 after his illustrious career with the Florida Gators, where he won 2 national championships, and he led the Broncos to the AFC Championship against Tom Brady a few years ago. So, Mama, I looked it up real quick. Kyler Murray had what's called a perfect passer rating, where he became only the second player in NFL history with at least 250 passing yards, 50 rushing yards, and a perfect passer rating of 158.3. The only other person who had done so was Ken Anderson, who quarterbacked the Bengals back in the 70s when we lived down at Christchurch.
1974.
I went with generalities and I said,
okay, all right,
1970s. My mom wants to get all specific and say 1974. Okay, good enough.
Yeah, and for this to be the only second time it's a record like that has
occurred.
Yes. I think it's noteworthy.
You know what, Mama? I think we should send a letter into Roger Goodell and say, hey, Mr. Goodell, my mom thinks that more attention needs to be brought to what Kyler Murray recently accomplished, and what are we going to do about it? Let's see what he says. So, Mama,
I think that's a great idea.
I'll send him an email. Mama has, over the years, she has always told me, you got to let people know when they're not doing something that they should be doing. So to that, Mama, I pledge to you tonight, I'm going to send the NFL an email saying, why wasn't there more publicity around Kyler Murray being only the second person to have a perfect passer rating from a game. And this last time it was the last time it happened was in 1974. What do you think about that?
Great. That's super.
Yes.
You know, I'm all for that.
Yes. Mama doesn't let anything slide. Just as a quick aside, back when this just popped in my head, when I was in the 9th grade, I had saved up $970 when I was in the 9th grade in 1975. And the bank where I had my money saved in a savings account, we went by for back to school shopping, and they couldn't, this was back in the 70s, they couldn't find my $970. And so we were in the drive-through. Aunt Grace, I don't think you know this story.
No.
So we were in the drive-through, and people were behind us, and you could tell that people were getting upset, like, why won't this lady move out of the line? My mom would not move out of the drive-through lane until they found my $970. I'll take it back. It was $963. Y'all can play that number if you want. $963. And then once they found it, she said, give it all to me. Take the money out of the account, because it took them like 20 minutes to find my $963. And the whole time I'm fussing at her. I'm going, Mama, let's just go inside. Let's just come back tomorrow. And Mama, go ahead and tell me, let everyone know what you told me, pretty much.
You probably can phrase it better than I can.
Mama said, Troy, it's your blankety blank money, and they owe it to you. And if they can't find it, we ain't moving until they do find it. So my mom has always been very principled, and I've tried to emulate her over the years.
Yeah. I'll tell you sometime a story about Gerald.
Okay, so Gerald's my stepdad, who was a dad to me, and we lost Gerald just last year, but he's still here because we still got stories to tell about him. And anyone that we lose, even though they're gone, they really are still here. And that's how they continue on, is how we remember them. And I miss him every day, as I'm sure Mama does as well. So let's look ahead. I want to get close to the end here. Let's look ahead to next week for those who want to wager on a game just based on our thought process. So since we are knocked out, we don't have any favorites anymore. So I'm just going down the list real quick, and I'm going to pick one game that stands out for me, and that would be, I would say, San Francisco over New England. I cannot see San Francisco losing at home. Did you see how they gave that game away against the Rams this week?
I didn't see that.
They were up 27-14, 24-14, and then they just gave the game away. The Rams scored, I think, 17 points in the last 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think they gave it away. They had some injuries.
Yeah, but Mama, in the NFL, when you're up a certain amount of points, your probability of winning is around 80 to 90%. That's a game you need to put away. Like, for example, the Ravens against the Raiders in week 1 or week 2? The weeks go by so quickly.
Yeah.
The Raiders came back and won, and the Ravens were up 10 with about 4 to 5 minutes to go.
Right. Yeah.
And all it takes in those games are a couple of first downs to run the clock out. And something I've always told Mama, something I've always told Aunt Grace, is that all of the players in the NFL are great players.
Right.
It's just the decision making. It's the 1 or 2 or 3 mistakes a game that separate the great teams from the average teams, and the average teams from the below average teams. Just like in work, in life, it's just 1 or 2 little things that separate.
Yep.
Go ahead, Mama. Say
go
something
ahead.
funny.
Nope. I was just thinking that. Yeah.
So, and that's all it takes. And you know, people forget that all of these guys in the NFL, they were all high school All-Americans. They were all college All-Americans. They were all great athletes. But then when they get to the NFL, you know, they're running up against people who are great just like them. But
Yeah.
it's the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. It's the roughing
Yes,
the passer
it is.
penalty.
Yes, it is, Troy.
The
I've seen it too
catching
many
of
times.
the mask with their hand and
face
trying
mask.
to yank it their heads off. That's so crazy.
Or they score and then they have to celebrate.
Do all of this celebrating on the field.
Taking their helmet off. You know, they
Yeah.
they want to draw attention to themselves, and it drives me nuts. You know, just play the game, score, give the ball to the ref, and go back to the huddle. Go
You're
back
right.
to the bench. Why is that so hard?
Well, the coaches need to drill that into their heads, you know.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Hey, you can do all of that, but in the moment, it just left their heads.
Mama definitely does not like a show off. And when I used to play in a squadron softball, not squadron, that was in the military. But when I used to work with Mama when I was in college coming home for the summer, we would play in a summer softball league, and her team in Colonial Williamsburg, one year we were about to beat them, and we were up about 3 to 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th. And as Mama came in, as their team came in to bat, they were the home team. I said something smart to them, kind of to her as I walked by, like, "We got y'all beat this time." And
Wrong.
yeah, they scored about 5 or 6 runs in
Oh
the
my
bottom 7th. Yeah, yeah. It was a very silent road, very silent ride home.
God.
I
Because-
always had that attitude. I'll show you.
Let your work speak for you, huh?
Yeah, she kept nudging me in the side. She goes, "You okay? You okay? You okay?" Leave me alone, lady. I don't want to talk to you. So y'all haven't looked ahead for next week yet?
Yeah, I've
who
got
you
to
like?
revenge. This is purely revenge for me.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles in Tampa Bay.
I saw that and I go, wow, I want both of them to lose. Let it end in a tie.
Right.
Yep, I want the Eagles to whip their.
All right, we can't say that on the air, Mom.
That's right.
Okay, Aunt Grace, you got a pick?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys.
Really?
I know the Giants. They showed out a bit this week.
They did.
Yeah, but I'm
Okay.
gonna go with the Cowboys.
All right, I'm worried about the Cowboys. They couldn't do anything for the first 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah, something going on there.
Yeah, something's not right.
Hmm.
All right, well, we're coming up on the time. I don't want to keep you all too late because there's 2 games on, and I know you want to watch both of them.
Hold on. I have a theory on the Cowboys, but some of them may feel that a certain player has too much padding in their hip pocket. That's all I'll say.
Oh.
Okay.
I'll leave it just like that.
All right, I think I know where you're going with that. I will make sure that I send this link to one of my Air Force buddies his name is Kelvin Mays. He lives down in, I can't remember if he's right on the river. I can't remember if he's in Mississippi or Louisiana. I think it's Louisiana. He's a huge Cowboys fan since the 70s when they had Drew Pearson and Roger Staubach and so forth. But I'll make sure that he gets this link so he can see that or hear that, see and hear that, hey, yeah, somebody's got too much money in their pocket.
We didn't say money.
I said padding.
Padding. Well, you know what? It applies to 2 of them. Oh my God, the Bills scored again.
Yay! I'm for the Bills tonight.
Yeah, they have 27-3, about to be 27-3 now.
Okay.
All right, ladies in their 80s, it was great chatting with you.
As always.
And I will see you next week when I will be and on a road trip for work, but I'll be checking in with you on Monday night.
All right.
Okay. It's
As
been fun
always,
tonight.
thank you. I try to make it fun. Some of my viewers and my people who tune in, they go, let your mom, let your Aunt Grace talk more.
Oh. Well, Jean, you've got to read more and I've got to start reading.
Don't skim, read.
Yeah, that's another story. Okay, so as always, I close out with Mama and Aunt Grace, know how much I love y'all.
And I love you.
Yeah.